Well, thank you everyone for coming out. My name is Chief Chris Francisconi. I want to welcome you to the East Providence Police Department. Before we get started, I just want to introduce the gentleman standing behind me. To my left, we have Captain Floyd Gardner, Captain James Nelson, Deputy Chief Barry Raymer. To my right, Mayor Bob De Silva, Captain Mark Cataret, Sergeant Diego Mello, and Detective Kevin Feeney. So I'm going to provide a synopsis of the events that occurred last night, which led to the seizure of 15 firearms. After I provide the synopsis, I'll ask the mayor to say a few words, and then we'll open the floor up to questions. Last evening, at approximately 7 p.m., members of our Special Investigation Unit were conducting surveillance on a residence in East Providence as part of an investigation into the trafficking of firearms. The investigators observed a male exit the residence in possession of a suitcase. The male, later identified as 28-year-old Joseph DeRosa of Modesto, California, was observed placing the suitcase in the trunk of a waiting vehicle. The investigators also observed 4 additional males enter a second vehicle. After placing the suitcase in the trunk, DeRosa entered the vehicle and it left the area. He was the passenger with another male driving. Investigators began following the vehicle. As it got onto Route 195 West, they activated their emergency lights in an effort to stop the vehicle. The car pulled to the right and stopped on the Washington Bridge. As Sergeant Diego Mello and Detective Kevin Feeney began approaching the vehicle, they observed the second vehicle slow down in what appeared to be a diversionary tactic and then quickly accelerate away. They believed it to be acting as a counter-surveillance as it was previously observed leaving the residence. DeRosa exited the stopped vehicle. Sergeant Mello and Detective Feeney gave verbal commands for him to get back into the vehicle. DeRosa ignored those commands and, without warning, jumped from the Washington Bridge into the water below. The officers immediately requested assistance in an effort to rescue DeRosa from the frigid waters. In addition to numerous East Providence police officers, the Providence Police sent several officers, a canine, and launched a boat. The East Providence Fire Department sent numerous assets, and the Marine Task Force was activated. Members of the Rhode Island State Police responded with a canine. After an approximately 50-minute search for DeRosa, he was located by the Providence Police boat in a marshy area upon the East Providence shoreline. DeRosa was taken into custody by our officers and immediately transported to Rhode Island Hospital by the East Providence Fire Department. Miraculously, he only sustained minor injuries and was treated and later released into police custody. Investigators seized the suitcase and were granted a search warrant to open it. Inside the suitcase, 13 handguns and 1 rifle were located. 4 of these firearms were previously reported stolen out of Texas, and 1 had an obliterated serial number. Mr. DeRosa will be facing the following charges: 14 counts of possession of a firearm by a person convicted of a crime of violence, 13 counts of license required to carry a pistol, 4 counts of possession of a stolen firearm, 1 count of alterations of marks of identification on a firearm, 1 count of possession of a controlled substance, to wit cocaine, and 1 count of obstruction of an officer in execution of their duty, as Mr. DeRosa supplied the officers a false name. It should be noted the vehicle DeRosa was in was a Lyft rideshare, and the driver had no knowledge of what was going on whatsoever. I'd like to thank the East Providence Fire Department, the Providence Police, Rhode Island State Police, and the Providence, Cranston, and Warwick Fire Departments, who all sent assets as part of the Marine Task Force. Lastly, I'd like to recognize my officers and dispatchers that were working last night for their tremendous effort, coordination, and excellent police work that went into not only the arrest, but saving this gentleman's life. That being said, I'd like to invite Mayor De Silva to say a few words.
Thank you, Chief. I just want to come down here and publicly thank the members of the East Providence Police Department, Fire Department, and surrounding communities that came out to help in the rescue effort of this individual. But in the initial investigation and the effort that went into identifying this person and taking these weapons off the street. As you look at this table to our right, you'll see that there's 14 weapons that will not be used in a homicide, that will not be used to shoot an innocent person, that will not be used to take someone's life. So it's thanks to the incredible work of the East Providence Police Department, taking these weapons off the street. We'll never know how many lives have been saved by their actions today, yesterday. So I want to thank them for their work and thank all the members of the police department. I happened to be monitoring the radio last night, and it was an all-hands effort. Everybody was doing an incredible job. I listened to a little bit of the activity, and everyone came together to try to locate this individual, and first and foremost, to get him safely out of the water. It was cold, and hypothermia could have set in, but these guys did a great job locating him and bringing him to safety.